Hi, I'm Kare Possick. Have you ever wondered what is a mandala? You hear that word, but a lot of people don't have a clue what it really means. A mandala is an energy device. It's actually been called architecture for enlightenment, bridges to the metaphysical realm. Mandalas are actually energy retention devices. They make patterns of force visible. For Carl Jung, the mandala was his favorite psychological tool. He had all his patients draw mandalas, and throughout their therapy, they would draw new mandalas, and he could tell how they were evolving, how they were healing. Joseph Campbell says that mandalas are tools for personal meditation, for healing, for self-realization. Dr. Joan Boroshenko says mandalas can collapse time and space and bring us to the very heart of healing. I always, when I was upset or needed to meditate or needed to get over some sort of emotional upset, I would draw mandalas, and they would just make me feel good. But it goes so much further than that. Dr. Judith Cornwell says, a mandala is like an archetype, a blueprint of some aspect of creation, like a hologram. And when you create it or tap into one, you enter into the divine consciousness from which it emanated, from which the archetype emanated. So a mandala can give you that aha feeling of waking up, of coming home. A mandala is a spiritual experience, she says. Well, I have found that true in my life. These are some of my mandalas. I'll explain that in a minute. But I wanted to give you some background into where they come from and what they do and how important they are in our evolution and our healing. Mandalas are the language of the soul. You know, everything is frequency, which evolves into color and light and patterns, and all of these have meaning. When I sit down to draw a mandala, I have no thought in my mind about, I want to create something for my sore knee, or I want to create something to make me happy. I just sit down and I let everything go, and I just breathe and relax, and I get out my compass and my protractor and my, crayons, although I use colored pencils on black paper, because they, these are energies that come from the darkness, from emptiness, from the void, and they come onto my paper, and I just color, I just draw, and when I'm all done, I sit back, and it's been an emotional experience, a release. But something interesting happened years ago. I created an entire program for a company and presented the program, and they only wanted a little bit of it. They didn't want the whole thing. And I said, I'm sorry, but this was truly inspired, and it's all or nothing. And I went home and I was like really bummed. And I created, oh geez, I don't know how many mandalas I created, but I had many hundred mandalas, and I put them under my bed. Where do you store them? I've got all these drawings, and they weren't really speaking to me. They didn't have names. They made me feel good when I did them. So they were my personal therapy, meditation. But I was training a doctor on a quantum healing device. Here, this is in my guest house. And she said to me, "Sit down, Kuthumi has a message for you." And I go, this was like, her face changed, her voice changed, and I sat down. And I did not know who Kuthumi was at the time. He's an ascended master. And Kuthumi spoke through her and said, "There are vortexes under your bed that are being called into service, and they number 12. And they will open portals on the planet and on the body." Okay. And I'm sitting there going, what does that mean? And I remembered, oh my gosh, my mandalas are under my bed. Vortexes are under your bed. These are definitely vortexes of energy, and they're being called into service. So that now there's time for something else for them to do, and they number 12. Well, like I said, I had a couple hundred under my bed by then. So I brought them out. I put them all over my floor, and stood there going, all right, which 12? And 13 of them sort of glowed. That's all I can explain. They just sort of lit up. They weren't my favorites. They weren't the prettiest, but there were 13 that lit up, and I knew that was what I was supposed to be working with. Those 13 are on my wall behind me. And so I had them printed. These are giclées. They're printed on canvas, hung them on my wall, and began to, wonder, okay, well, here they are. What am I supposed to do with them now? And I was president of a light company, Healing Diode Lights, which put photons into your body, helps the healing process. And I was training someone. I was president of this company called Light Tools, and I was training someone here in my guest house, and she did the exact same thing. She said, "An angel has a message for you, sit down." It was like, okay. And it was their time. It's time to shine light through these mandalas. Well, I had light tools, and so I could definitely do that if I could figure out how to get light through them. And I called my printer, and he had a way to print on glass and also on a plastic so that you could actually shine light through it, which would then take the energetics from that mandala and all those frequencies and move them with light. So I thought, well, that's pretty cool. And I had a number of people who had little wands, little light wands, with the diode part was about this big. So we made little mandalas that fit on that. And I sent them to people that were using my light tools. And they began, I said, here's a whole set of little mandalas. Play with them. Tell me what you think. So meanwhile, I was just meditating with these, and I got whole messages of what they do, what they are, how they work, what they're good for. And I found out that this one right over here is actually one that opens up the first chakra, the root chakra. And it is absolutely, everybody that noticed it, I call it abundant life force, because this is a mandala that resonates with the frequencies of the root chakra. The color red, the note C, hydrogen, the qualities of regeneration, vitality, warmth, strength, passion, courage, devotion. So I've got it on a little card. And I got whole messages and meditations to work with them. The second one here is called Creative Juice. It opens up and opens up the creative juice in the second chakra. It resonates with the color orange, the note D, creativity, self-esteem, fluidity, balance, emotion, balance, sexuality, joy, well-being. And then I got whole meditations. But the one that really was the most interesting when I sent it to people that were using them, most of the people that were using my light tools were therapists, massage therapists, psychotherapists. And one woman wrote me back immediately. She had taken all of the mandalas with her to do massages, and she had a room full of, she was going to a center to do free massages to women who were in a center for battered women. And she showed them all of them, and what she said was, pick the one you want me to do your massage with, and I will. Every single woman in that center who had been abused picked this one. It's called Personal Power. It's there you can see that one right there. Personal Power. And this is a mandala that resonates with the solar plexus. And the third chakra, the color yellow, the note E, qualities of focused power and purpose, personal empowerment, intellectual awareness, knowledge, and self-confidence. So what do you think the women who were at this center who had been abused needed most? Personal power. So let me just read this. These are messages that came through these. So the golden flower of healing light is a powerhouse. I'll let you look at it while I do this. Which helps manifest your personal power through focused intention. Allow the frequencies of this mandala to resonate with you now, enlightening the third chakra, the solar plexus, and feel the sacred geometries of this golden healing orb of light as it spreads from the center of your being outward through the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual layers of your being, enlightening your awareness, your true knowing, your self-confidence, your personal power. You are perfect and powerful. You are the one. Namaste. So that was what came through with that one. So it's interesting. I mean, I've got stories with every one of these. The one that I'm wearing, this is the heart chakra. That's this one right here. And one of my friends who's a chiropractor has this one on a necklace. And he said when and this is he's a special doctor, and he has the ability to see inside the body. And when he started wearing this in his practice, he said every time somebody walked through the door, he could watch their heart open because they were in the proximity of this heart mandala. And it stimulates the opening of the heart center. So, interesting stories have come from all around the world. I have healing centers all over the world that have these hanging and that they use with different tools and things. It's just been a really interesting trip with this. I was asked at a Unity to do a lecture on mandalas, and it was the first time I had ever taken my mandalas out of my house and into, to talk to people about it, because they've always just been my own private things. And I had them projected up on great big screens. There were a few hundred people in the audience. And I, started telling my stories. And when we were all done, people came up to me and said they had experienced just an amazing rush of energy with one or two of them, or some, the pain had gone away here or there. The next morning, I got a call from a woman who had just seen her doctor, and her doctor wanted to come over and see these because her back pain was gone. It's like, what? These are just my little drawings. So I've had a lot of interesting things happen with these. Now, thousands of people have used them, seen them, have stories. And so I thought it was time to just do a little video. What I want to do is introduce you to the potential of a mandala being able to help transform your body, mind, and spirit as you progress in your health, in your awareness, in your healing. So let me see if I can tip this up. Oops. Well, yeah, I guess I can. I just wanted to show you all of them. I can't do that. Okay, over there. So in this one in the middle, I call World Healing. And I guess that's the 13th one, because the way I look at this, when everything is in balance, then we can heal the world. Speaking of that, one of the things that was said to me was, these will open portals on the body and on the planet. So, interesting thing happened. I was teaching classes in this guest house on how to make your own personal mandala, which I'll offer a workshop later. I haven't planned it yet. This is just the very, first introduction, and I'll see who's interested in maybe making their own and doing it on a, in a little webinar format. But anyway, the minister from that unity played a very interesting role in this. I was teaching a workshop here, and when I do a workshop on mandalas, I make one with everybody. And I made one that was very unusual. I don't have it here right now. I wish I would have thought about bringing it over, because it's not on the wall. It's actually in my office at my house. But I made one that came through with a name. They usually don't come through with a name. And I got all sorts of information about it. It was called Angel's Portal with St. Michael's Sword. Oh, if you want to go look at that one, by the way, it's on my website, careshighfrequencywellness.com, and it's under mandalas. So, Angel's Portal with St. Michael's Sword. And I thought that was unusual, and a couple of weeks later, I got a call from the Unity minister saying she had taken one of my mandalas, which I had had a dream, my chiropractor had had a dream about these needed to go to Peru. One of them needed to go to Peru to open a portal. And when I was sitting in church and she stood up and said, by the way, we're going to Peru. Who wants to go with us? Well, I couldn't at that time, but I thought, okay, we'll give you a mandala to take. And so anyway, I gave her a mandala, and she was in Peru when I was doing that workshop at my house. She called me when she got back, and she said, I have to tell you about the mandala and where I put it. So she was a shaman, and she was taken by a group of shamans to Machu Picchu, actually sort of a mountainside looking down on Machu Picchu, and into a cave, and was sent there to meditate. And so she meditated, and she got the message that she was to put that mandala that she had carried all over Peru, wondering where it should go. She got the message it was to go under the shaman stone in that cave overlooking sunrise at Machu Picchu. It's like, that gives me goddess bumps, just thinking about it. So she did that, and as she came out of the cave, the shaman that had brought her there said, by the way, the name of this cave is Angel's Portal. So 2 weeks later, she calls me, tells me this story. And I'm going, oh my gosh, and I got out my calendar and I flipped through. That was the same day that I created the mandala, Angel's Portal, with St. Michael's sword. So there's so much mystical, amazing information around mandalas. The Buddhists have Buddhist monks have been making mandalas for centuries. And they take days to do them out of colored powder. And then they'll take them and they chant during the entire time to bring life into the mandala. And then at a certain time, when it's all done and they've all put their prayers into it, because mostly what they do is prayers for us and the earth, and society. And then they take it and they dump it in the ocean so the ocean can transmit it. Mandalas are very, very special. And they speak the language of the soul. It's a continuous field of electromagnetic energy. They carry vibrations and divine intelligence. So I just wanted to share that with you. I've been creating mandalas my whole life. It wasn't until, maybe these last 10 years, maybe not quite that long, that I've really known what they were, what they do. When I have a problem, I'll sit down and I'll create a mandala as a way to solve it, because those frequencies then will adjust my energy field so that I have answers. So anyway, this is kind of my mandala story. I could teach for hours and hours about them. But this is just a little taste. And if you would like to read more about each one of these, go to my website, careshighfrequencywellness.com, and read for yourself. Breathe, relax, let their energies just balance your energy field. And let me know how you feel. Let me know if you've been creating mandalas. Let me know if you would be interested in attending a little workshop where we created our own personal mandalas for healing or for whatever. You can sit down. It's about your intention when you create it. What is your intention? So that's my mandala story. Hope you're interested, because what I'm planning on doing, and you can give me feedback on this too, is I'm going to do 13 little videos, one on each one of the mandalas, and then teach you how to make your own. So how does that sound to you? Well, let me know. I'm looking forward to sharing this journey with you. Blessings, my friends. I will talk to you soon. Bye now.